Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SportsGamer, and welcome back to our coverage of the ECL Elite Division postseason. My name is Tuki, joined, of course, by Mr. Sin for the win, and today, Sin, we'll find out which one of these two teams are moving on as we follow along with the battle of 4v5. It is hREDS taking on Radical, and we'll be with this series until the end.
Yeah, and Radical has a lot of work to do. We were talking about during the last broadcast how at times, especially in that second game, it was feeling more like a 1v8. Radical just didn't have an answer for hRED's game, and hREDS are just looking like that dynasty of old that we've seen. They may be a 4 seed, but, you know, they're playing like a 1 or 2 seed right now.
Yes, indeed. For those who missed the opening 2 games of this series, game 1, relatively close, a 2-1 win for hREDS, but game 2, the doors were blown off. 6-1, the final, and as a result, hREDS with a 2-0 lead in this best of 7. And again, this broadcast will be covering the rest of this series until its conclusion, whether it be 4 games, as a lot of people arguably are thinking it might be at this point, or even if Radical are able to battle back in 4-7, we'll be here through the whole thing. And of course, a look at the playoff bracket. We know our top 8 teams that have made the postseason, and this is where things stand right now on tomorrow's broadcast. Now, it's a very busy week for us here. We're going to be here with you for the next 5 days, essentially. I think it's 5 days in a row. Today is the first of 5, if I'm not mistaken. Tomorrow, we have the same format as we finish up the Tunnel Vision and Blackjack series. And then Tuesday, the next 2 matchups kick off there as well. So a lot to be decided here this week as we finish up the opening round of the Elite Division playoffs here in the quarterfinals. But so, you know, we talked about those first 2 games of hREDS and Radical, and we're actually going to be able to take a look back here at some of the action from those first 2 games. As you know, again, we talked about it, how close this series was. This was game number 1, of course, and it was all hREDS up to that point, but it was Radical who was able to strike first. hREDS, though, able to battle back relatively quickly and really never look back.
Yeah, and what I loved about a lot of their game was just simplicity. Their cycle game was good. They were taking the perimeter shots when they were there with traffic in front. Once again, there it is. Simple play, but they had tired the goalie out by that point, and the rebound was there for the taking, and this is the beautiful one. What vision by Villapoika to see Nicky Dangles there on the back door here, and this one, too. I love the slow up from Teemu, hitting Villapoika for that one-timer. And then hREDS just continued to just pour it on.
As indeed, you're going to look here, the lone Radical strike in that second game. And, well, 4 more goals to go here for hREDS. And so not the only time, of course, we saw that last goal in really working with Teemu at the point a lot, whether or not it's the deflections or just taking it to the house himself.
Yeah, and again, that's just exactly what good teams do to adjust. There's another kind of just shot from the point, and they get one in on the rebound. That is a beautiful poke right there by Nicky Dangles here. And then they attack the middle. They what I always harp about, you can't attack the middle immediately. You got to try to pull guys out of position. hREDS made the threat of the perimeter shot and the point shots so viable throughout the course of that series that it opened up what you saw in that last goal right there. They work the perimeter, they cycle on the outside, and then they kick it to the middle right there. It was really a beautiful display of teamwork in hockey by hREDS there. And if they can keep that up, I really don't see this game, this series going past 4 or 5, because Radical simply didn't have an answer.
It's up to them in this next game, game 3, coming up in just a few minutes, to really work their way back into the series, because while you never say never within the Elite Division, especially a 3-0 series deficit, not all that likely to see anybody come back from that, regardless of the team. But with that, let's get a look here at the numbers between these two teams so far in the matchup that we have. Obviously, the first two games of this series. And again, for a team like Radical and the offensive, capabilities that they have, just the 2 goals in the first 2 games of the series, they will certainly not be happy with. And that's obviously the key right now is you want to say, hey, you got to improve your defense. But that kind of starts, the best defense is a good offense, is the old saying. And it's up to them to kind of start getting some of that offensive momentum going, getting that zone time going that they really struggled to find in the previous week.
Yeah, they had some flashes here and there. They had some moments. They had some periods where they looked good, but for the most part, hREDS just continued to really dominate on that front, and that's the reason you're seeing them with a 4-1 goals, 4 goals against. 8-2 right there. We talked about it in the first pregame. Radical, they have to stay out of the penalty box. I mean, it's no surprise and really kind of makes sense. That hREDS was capitalizing on the chances. That is an eerily similar power play percentage to what they had in the regular season. This is just a consistent elite team that Radical has to contend with. And hREDS is sort of doing what they did in the season and now doing it in a playoff setting as well against a team, who in the standings was matched up right next to them. That's just what hREDS does. This is what they've always had the capability to be able to do. When they're on their game, they can make any other team simply look outmatched.
So with that, let's get a look here at the lineup for this particular series. As again, game 3 coming up will be with the series on this broadcast tonight until its conclusion. Could be all the way to game 7. Time will tell. It is the same 12, though, that we saw in the first 2 games of this series for Radical: Dillinger, Vire, and Harlow as the front 3, with Sisu and King of Apes on defense, and Pelkonen in goal. On the other side for hREDS, Villapoika, Benito, and Nikki Dangles, with Domi and Temu on defense, and Fincere in between the pipes. And we'll start off with that center comparison, like we always do, Benito and Vire. And again, Benito dominant in the regular season and picking up right where he left off, 6 points in the first 2 games of this series.
I mean, again, you talk about consistency. He's on a 3-point per game pace, which is exactly what he finished the regular season with. It's quite amazing. And then Vire on the flip side was the leading point scorer for Radicals. Actually, is tied for the least amount on his team. Again, it's just through 2 games, but this is just kind of, goes to show you it's symptomatic of what's happening in this series so far. Even in the face-off dot, I mean, Benito is really taking it to Vire right now. It's just been a tough road for everyone on the Radical squad.
And of course, looking over next at the winger comparison that we have, again, Dillinger and Harlow on the wings for Radical against Villapoika and Nikki Dangles. Villapoika, 4 goals in 2 games. And Sin, as much as we're going to mention what Temu was able to do, of course, and we saw that in the highlights, it was Villapoika who more often than not, as he does, and is maybe the best at it in this top tier, finding himself in the right place at the right time. It is tough to think of someone who is more positionally sound than Villapoika.
Yeah, he's just a vulture around the net anytime the puck goes loose. And that does more for you than just score goals, too. I mean, he's often the first one into the corner to retrieve those rebounds, keep the play alive. I mean, it's such an underrated skill and talent to have, is just to be the first one to get to that puck. It's a little bit of touch, it's a little bit of skill, and it's a heck of a lot of experience just knowing where you need to be, where you need to position yourself. If you want to compare it to something, it's like, a greatest rebounder in the NBA or something like that. He's essentially the Dennis Rodman of the ECL, just always there to pick up that puck, and it helps his team out in a massive way. On the flip side, Harlow, the only player on his team with more than 1 point here. So good for him, but it's just, Radical's going to need everyone to just step up and find another level here to really be able to get that offense going.
Taking a look here at the defenders next. Again, Sisu and King of Apes for Radical. It is Domi and Temu on the other side. And again, as we mentioned, Temu had a phenomenal first 2 games of this series. Offensively, in a lot of ways, it ran through him for hREDS in the attacking zone, letting him either throw the puck on net or make those passes, and it worked out tremendously well. And Sin, it reminds me now at this point of when Domi and King of Apes were the defense pair for hREDS, where, yes, Domi's active in the offensive zone, but his defensive ability allows his partner to really step up and take those risks offensively. And it worked out so well for hREDS in those first two games, as you see with Temu having those 6 points.
Yeah, absolutely, and slightly different from the pairing of when King of Apes was on hREDS. Temu, while he did activate, he and Domi both kind of did. It's just most of the Temu's points were coming in the zone. He was the one who was often taking those perimeter shots. I mean, he really at no point sacrificed defense for offense, and that is an incredible feat considering he has those 3 points per game, 6 points in 2 games played. It's scary. It's how do you shut this guy down? It's tough to do because theoretically he's not the main one to worry about. You have 3 dominant forwards as well, and that's what happens sometimes when there's so much other skill to worry about. Is that a player as good as Tame, who is this incredible 2-way defenseman, can just all of a sudden go off here, and we're still waiting for King of Apes to go off. And his team is going to need him to. We're going to have to see a monster game out of King of Apes to try to stop the bleeding, help his team get a win, and start cutting in to what is already seeming like an insurmountable deficit. It's only 2 games to none, but it's hREDS, and they just have that aura about them.
And of course, our final head-to-head here, the battle of the goaltenders, Pelkonen and Finsere. And, for a team that gave up 8 goals in 2 games, you'd expect to see worse numbers from Pelkonen, but he has been incredibly solid. He is the reason as to why those numbers weren't even more lopsided, and especially that coming off of a really good regular season for him. He's showing that he is the backbone of this team, but unfortunately for him, he has to play at arguably an even better level. If those first 2 games, if that trend's going to continue, he has to be even more stellar than what he's been so far, and that's very difficult to do, especially too in knowing that Finsere on the other side, former goaltender of the season, he's been very solid in the first 2 games while facing minimal shots.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen a mid-80s save percentage with a 4 GAA, even in a small sample size. I mean, part of it has to do with that one game where hREDS put up about, I think, 30 shots in a single game, which is kind of unheard of in the EASHL realm of things. But yeah, Pelkonen has done his job. You look at those numbers, you see the 4 GAA, you're like, whoa, what happened? But look at the save percentage. He's just been under siege the entirety of this series. Finsere hasn't faced as much, but again, he's been incredibly solid. But if you're looking at what goaltender is performing better, it's just out of sheer necessity right now, Pelkonen, because he's just getting so much more looks than Finsere is right now. And that's the mark of that really strong hREDS team, is that they're really limiting the chances, and Pelkonen is just simply having to stand on his head because hREDS has taken these games over.
So with that, we are just a few moments away from puck drop game 3 in this best of 7 coming up. Again, hREDS with a 2-0 series lead to the first 2 games of this series. And on this broadcast, we'll cover the remainder of this series. Again, whether or not it ends quickly, which hREDS would love for it to do so, or whether or not Radical can really battle back today and make something happen in this series. And Sin, we always kind of talk about that when it comes to these playoff battles. Was that first round, more often than not, we see those top 4 seeds advance. But, the further separation that you have, 1v8, 2 versus 7, that's where you kind of expect to see, okay, 4-5 game series. When you get the battle of 4 versus 5, like we have here, that's the one that you kind of say, okay, that one's probably going 6 or going 7. But it's tough to say that now after hRED's dominant performance earlier. Again, last week, 8 goals to 2 over those 2 games. I'm really intrigued to see what we see from Radical here in this one, because it feels like all the pressure's on them, even though it's on hREDS to close out the series.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like their record in a way was like sandbagging us for part of this year. Remember, they didn't have Nicky Dangles for 20 games of this season. Now they had Moja, who's an incredible player, but anytime you switch up a lineup that's been as long-standing as this and as successful as this, there's simply going to be growing pains. There's simply going to be an adjustment period. hREDS started the season off like close to 500 in the first 5 to 10 games. They started to get going, and then obviously Nicky Dangles comes back and they're rolling. And then there's the other question. Okay, is he going to be rusty? And then here he is in the playoffs just doing Nicky Dangles things. And hREDS, you got to, it's like, what if they had him the whole season? Would they be in one of those top 2 spots? At this point, it doesn't matter. We have 4 amazing teams in the top 4, possibly the strongest top 4 that we've ever had. And the other teams are going to be hard pressed to try to keep up.
Yeah, and looking back through that kind of early, schedule for hREDS, I mean, some hit, some miss at that point in the season. In the regular season, though, and I know that our colleague B Major pointed this out in chat the other day, the regular season matchup between Radical and hREDS, eerily similar. It was a 2-1 win for hREDS and then 7-1 as opposed to 6-1 like we saw in game 2. hREDS have had Radical's number all season long, and it's up to Radical to find a way to be able to get the better of this opposition here. It's just whether or not they're going to be able to do it. Some teams, like you said, just, you know, you have the number, of course, but then, like you said, too, in regards to the lineup changes, right? Because I wanted to go back to that point. I think we see that, on the esports side of things, we see that in real sports as well. This idea of, okay, you can put this multiple time champion in Mosia into this lineup, but it doesn't necessarily mean that stylistically the team is going to work out the same way. That can be a positive. Of course, it can make teams better, as you would expect, but of course, you never really know how it's going to pan out. But indeed, hREDS, for their perspective, at full strength, and we will see what they can do here as you get a look at the teams in the lobby in terms of player types. Pretty much what you would expect from hREDS, puck movers aside from Benito down the middle, and then from Radical, as we often see, playmaker down the middle, but the lone sniper in Dillinger. And that's something that they weren't able to take advantage of in the first 2 games, was getting Dillinger those one-time opportunities.
Yeah, they got a couple of them to go through. I mean, Dillinger did end up with 1 goal. I think it was on the one-timer that one time. That being said, 2 games, just the 1 goal. I mean, obviously they're going to key in on him, but yeah, they have to find other looks to be able to open that up.
And of course, you see on screen there the Lionot E-Hockey Open, an entry-level tournament for those looking to get involved in the e-hockey scene. This is the tournament for you. SportsGamer.gg/Lionot has all of the information that you need, again, for this new tournament ongoing, or at least not ongoing, but about to get going. We have an ongoing tournament, of course, coming up this week as well. So much going on, Sin, here at SportsGamer. But for now, we focus on the task at hand. It is game number 3, and of this best of 7 here, the quarterfinals, as hREDS look to take a commanding 3-0 series lead. See if they're able to do that, as Nicky Dangles nearly found Villapoika in front early on.
Yeah, trying to get that quick start. I mean, how detrimental would that be for Radical? hREDS get that first goal again, and you have to play into them.
Forecheck already here from hREDS as well. No real surprise. We're going to have an early offside call, and that was, well, down goes King of Apes. You don't see that too often. That was one of the things in the first 2 games that hREDS really shined at, was despite the attacking pressure they were able to put on, their control of their own blue line and the trap game was on point, to say the least.
Yeah, it's beautiful thing, able to forecheck, and then they're still somehow able to get all the way back just from slowing down the opponent through the neutral zone and still set up that 5-man trap.
Benito unable to drag that one through. King of Apes bumped off the puck there. Held in the attacking zone. Short side shot. Glove save by Finsere. So a good early chance here for Radical. Off there, taken away. Dillinger back to Vire, and Radical will look to reset here. Dillinger drops back for Sisu. Nowhere to go. Nikki Dangles now down the other way. A good bump. Still in control, though. Kicks back to Teemu. Deep pass here. Nikki Dangles. A reset back to the point. hREDS being held to the perimeter, but possession intact. They again went for that deflection off of a Teemu shot. Arlo able to send it down low. Very off the back of the cage. One timer from the point. Good stop by Finserius. King of Apes finally able to get a look in the series. Teemu jumping up. I think he wanted Villapoika. It was Nikki Dangles who found it, though.
Yeah, he absolutely wanted Villapoika right there. Very similar to how they scored that one-timer goal. He wasn't able, he just didn't have the time and space to delay as he wanted to. So Nikki Dangles on that net drive, just trying to take away a body from that passing lane, was the one who got that.
King of Apes unable to find any space there. Great outlet pass. Villapoika to Nikki Dangles on the backhand. He's denied. Pressure there from hREDS forces the setting pass. Space here for Dillinger. Does he have the pace? Goes for the pass, and Harlow, I don't think, got the pickup he was looking for. An offside call here for hREDS. Great chance for Radical, but they can't take advantage.
Yeah, and those hurt so much when you're playing a team like hREDS because your chances feel like they're few and far between. So each one that you get, you almost feel like is a must-score situation. But I have liked Radical in this game are right now not giving hREDS those secondary and tertiary opportunities as we continue to see them get in the first two games of those series. That's going to be huge as they go backdoor to Dillinger there. He gets a couple whacks at it.
Very surprised it found its way over to him. Here's Nikki Dangles for hREDS. Teemu the shot forces a big save out of Pelkinen. The Teemu attempt was blocked down. Radical seemed to be doing a better job taking away those shooting lanes from him. Domi around for Nikki Dangles, unable to hold on. Domi wins it back, centering feed, bounces back to him one more time. Benito couldn't make the pass. Gets it back, though. Works with Nikki Dangles, who goes to the force. Villapoika had nowhere to go, wins it back. Here's Benito one more time. Over to Teemu. D-to-D passes here. Final few moments of the period. Villapoika has it poked away. Radical finally able to get some reprieve. They have 3 seconds to work with. Villapoika. The interception on the back check, and the first period comes to a close without our opening goal. But some good bright spots for both teams there offensively.
Yeah, and at the end there, hREDS finally started to get some sustained zone time. They hadn't really been able to do that. Radical was doing a good job of pouncing on some of those loose pucks and then trying to quickly break things out in a controlled manner, so not to turn it over, you know, with all the heavy back check that hREDS was going to put on. But it really was like a crafty play on the boards by Benito there. He did, when he was facing the wall, he actually did like a dump shot to knock it off the wall and angled it so that would go further lower instead of trying to get a pass off, which wouldn't have the same amount of power or necessarily the angle that he would have wanted. Just a really, really nice little thing that he did to keep that one alive here. But, you know, Radical do have the advantage in shots without the time on attack, and I think a lot of that came at the end there for hREDS. A lot of that time on attack, they weren't able to capitalize, but once they started to get that, you kind of think, okay, is this the turning point? Is this where hREDS takes over? Radical cannot let that happen.
There we go. Second period underway. As always, the action brought to you by our friends at Kovalan Lakritzi. It is game number 3 in this best of 7. So we will stick with this series today on broadcast until we have a winner. And Nikki Dangles, tremendous work with the pass. Didn't find its way to Villapoika. As Dillinger won too many moves to the forehand, had space on the backhand, walked into traffic instead. King of Apes wisely taking his time. Carlo had it poked away. Good shot there by Vire. As Sisu's pass ends up being paddled away by Finsere. Radical, good job on the forecheck to win this puck back. Sisu again. Read like a book by Teemu. Was able to take it away. Domi on the forehand. Looking. Wanted that 1T. Was a good read by Sisu on the other side. They're right back for King of Apes. Cross for Dillinger. The space disappeared. The blink of an eye. Villapoica over for Nikki Dangles. hREDS back into the attacking zone. Teemu running out of space, gets it back, finds Domi at the point. hREDS looking to take their time. King of Apes, the physicality, trying to win it back. Radical get a breakout here. hREDS didn't give up on the play, but Benito is going to get called here for a cross check, and say hello to opportunity, Radical. Good chance here coming up.
Yeah, this is absolutely massive. An aggressive forecheck for hREDS. I mean, it looked really good, but unfortunately for them, comes back to bite them here as that bump from behind for Benito gets him a cross-checking penalty. So Radical here, a chance to go with the man advantage, and this is exactly what they needed.
Dangles able to recover this puck off the draw, though. Domi was looking for a quicker outlet pass than that. He wanted to threaten in this shorthanded situation. King of Apes has to go off the skates of Villapoica. He's unable to clear on the first attempt. Gets it to Nikki Dangles. They can't clear the zone. Dillinger has trouble. Sisu now able to step in. King of Apes, shot, scores! And I don't think Vere was the intended target there. I think they wanted Dillinger on the 1T, but they'll take it. It's a power play goal for Radical.
It works out beautifully because Vincetti was doing a really good job tracking it. Just watch his movements right there. He kind of saw it, and because he shifted slightly to the right, expecting that one-timer to come out from Dillinger, but Vire received it and cut back across, picking that glove side corner. Huge power play goal for Radical here to give them the lead in this game.
They're a second of the postseason, and after a 36-goal effort, the regular season's 30 games. hREDS have always been able to find a response when Radical have gotten on the board. Unable to do so there. Here's King of Apes stepping in. Just ran out of room. He Dangles will slow things down. Good pick off there by Dillinger. Radical get to play a little bit more of their style now. Although they did walk right into that hREDS trap.
Yeah, that's the danger with resetting. Oftentimes, or sometimes at least, it is the best decision to make. But when you're against hREDS, you always kind of maybe second guess yourself just because of the reputation for having such a good blue line there. But maybe hREDS getting a little bit cocky. They were kind of hell-bent on counterattacking on that penalty kill. That led to the failure to clear and eventually the Radical goal.
Good save there by Pelkinen. Villapoica testing that short side, and I'd look to see hREDS kind of get back to that shoot-first mentality.
Yeah.
Start testing Pelkinen a little bit more.
Yeah, seems they went away from it a bit in this game.
Domi able to find a pass there. Sisu. Follow-up pass. Benito. That shot blocked. He Dangles in control. Self-pass there. Not intended. Time Nikki Dangles to Domi at the point. Finally, hREDS get full pressure, but they're going to lose it here as Nikki Dangles was pushed offside. Still technically full pressure active, but they have to get the puck back into the zone very quickly.
Yeah, they were trying for the quick re-entry right there, but unfortunately it brought them offside. I don't think it's going to last by the time they win this face-off and get it in. Oh, wow.
Did, but it was poked away, and Radical will survive as finally full pressure's alleviated. Benito for Teemu. Teemu to Domi. His shot blocked there. Actually, I think it went off of Nikki Dangles. Just wasn't able to deflect it towards goal. Domi tried to work his way through. King of Apes trying to step up. The rare successful stick lift by Domi without a slash. I don't know if he had to enter the full Konami code before that one to get it to work. I'm envious. Space here for Vire. A pass towards goal. Second chance, Harlow. Point blank. Couldn't get it past Finseri, and just like that, 5 seconds left in the period. Radical take it in the second. They are up 1-0 heading into the third period, and hREDS in unfamiliar territory.
Yeah, very nearly 2-0 right there. That was a massive save by Finseri. Really underrated, just how big that was. It's so hard to remain kind of calm in position and in that sort of chaos in front of the net. I mean, you know, the puck was bouncing around and, you know, bodies were kind of flying all over the ice. It was transitioning one way than the other. That is a massive save, because not only, you know, did he keep this, you know, game, I won't say within reach. You got to figure most games are in reach for hREDS, but much more obtainable with the way kind of both teams have been playing in this one for hREDS to be able to come back from. But they had maybe one shot that period. I don't know. I just feel like at times they're trying to get a little too cute with it in this game, and we were just hyping them up, you know, saying that one game they got like 30 plus shots. I think they need to get back to that, you know, try the perimeter plays, try to get those shots from the points. You know, that's where they found so much success and were able to dominate the gameplay.
Long way to go here for Radical to try to get their first win of the series. Good blocker save there by Pelkinen. Off the one-timer from Teemu. He's now Harlow trying to work his way through. Has to send it down low. hREDS will recover. Looking for their first goal of game number 3. Benito for Teemu into the attacking zone. Teemu back for Domi. Hands off for Benito. Good patience here. Didn't get much on the pass. A bump. Harlow turns it over. hREDS trying to find the space if they can. Good patience here from Benito. Tried the short side. And Pelkinen again denies him with the glove.
Credit where it's due. Radical's doing a really good job of taking away multiple passing lanes right there. You saw, you know, the winger taking away the boards. You saw the down low Sisu left defenseman taking away the corner as well. And of course, there's going to be guys in the middle of the ice. So Radical's really doing a good job here.
And full pressure for hREDS that they're not able to make the most of. Dangerous situation there that hREDS able to get it out of trouble, and now working it down the other way. Good job by Dillinger, standing up at the blue line. Poika takes a hit. Nicky Dangles gets it back. Tried to find either Benito or Villapoika, just a little bit too fancy. It's not working. King of Apes nearly lofted that one through for Dillinger. Nicky Dangles over the line. As Teemu to Domi now. Back to Teemu again. Looking for the lane, and a good chance there as they finally pulled the trigger on the shot. Harlow not able to work his way through. Domi ends up on goal. Pelkinen forced to cover as we're nearly halfway through this third period.
Yeah, time kind of becoming a factor in this one there, and hREDS are pushing. You're not seeing those A-grade opportunities open up quite yet, though, so curious to see how this is going to continue on.
Only the 1T deflected by Benito. Good stop by Pelkin, and Nicky Dangles couldn't pull the trigger. Diving effort to keep it alive as again they get full pressure but can't keep it in the attacking zone. That is the third time in this game. Nicky Dangles, the force pass in front. Goes King of Apes for Radical, taken away by Domi. Domi now into the attacking zone. Teemu wanted the deflection for Nicky Dangles. It doesn't go. Penalty called against hREDS. We'll see if Radical need the man advantage. Well, they will get the chance. They have one power play goal already. Interference is the call against Villapoika.
Yeah, he'll be sitting in the box. I'm assuming a net front bump right there, as that's what we've kind of been accustomed to the call being. We'll have to see what it is indeed. And yeah, okay, so after that deflection, looking for that loose puck and gets caught right there. So dangerous opportunity here for Radical. If they can double this up at this stage of the game, their chances look great.
You win this face-off as well. Crucial moment in this game, in this series. Errant pass there. It's not as devastating, and knowing that they at least have the lead and don't absolutely need the power play goal, but still, not what they'd want. Turned over there. And Benito forced to turn back, but gets it back from Domi. hREDS gonna make something happen here. Short-handed. Good save by Pelkinen. As the short side effort rang off the post. And trouble there for Sisu to corral it. Finally does. Best efforts on that power play. Coming from the team that was short-handed. We're back to 5-on-5 with 4.5 minutes to go. As King of Apes got the shot through. And Sere plays it out, but it's Radical back in control. Dillinger's shot blocked. Here's Nicky Dangles. Emu at the point. The Nicky Dangles quickly back to the point. 3 minutes left now. Down low one more time. They're looking for the space. Can they find it? As Domi sends it around. Nobody there. Sisu takes the hit. Vire right back into the hands of Benito. 2 minutes to go here. Villapoica has nowhere to go as King of Apes. Burst of speed. It's back to the forehand in the corner. Final minute. Again, only the final 30 seconds are real time now in NHL 24. As Benito tried to go across. Emu for Domi. 20 seconds now. Domi. Where's he going to go with this one? Back to Teemu. Benito, and the shot stopped by Pelkinen. Radicals going to the power play. Penalty called on Nicky Dangles. And that might just do it.
Yeah, he went for that rebound, but it was excellent rebound control from Pelkinen there. It didn't bounce out enough, so Nicky Dangles trying to time things up. You see right there, and he just drills King of Apes. So not only are they short-handed, but the face-off comes all the way back into their end.
10 seconds left in this game. hREDS in control. 3 seconds now. King of Apes was able to take it away, and Radical are back in this series with a victory in Game 3. 1-0 the final score, and a playoff shutout for Pelkinen.
Well deserved from Pelkinen, but really that was a total team effort right there. And surprisingly so, getting a win here. Radical still averaging just 1 goal per game, but now they have a win on their card. They played that phenomenally in their own end in particular. I still feel like hREDS was trying to be a little bit too precise, and sometimes they weren't shooting when the lanes were there, particularly on the point. Domi especially was really hesitant to pull the trigger and let that fly. There was a couple times he got a nice pass from Teemu, and I was really expecting him to shoot because it was, you know, a lot more empty on that side of the ice, as it often is from that D-to-D pass, and he just wasn't pulling the trigger right there. I just didn't think that did hREDS any favors in that game. Their unwillingness to pull the trigger at times. Yeah, they ended up tying the shots, but look at the time on attack they had. Over 10 minutes, and they had less than a shot per minute, and that's just not good enough, I don't think, and especially in NHL 24. Yes, you know, we saw them get the pressure meter filled, but they were never able to do anything with it because they simply couldn't keep it in. And again, that's credit to Radical. They did so much better of a job just limiting hREDS and being more hungry for those loose pucks in that game. As we might have a mic malfunction here.
Hey, there you go. Hey, it's a Sunday. It's early for us. This is what happens when you get the broadcasters on early. A lot to talk about in the aftermath of that game, as we'll set the stage for Game 4 after a break. So stick with us. We'll be right back.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi. Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
All right, everybody, we are back. Not muted this time out, but we are ready to go for game number 4 after the shocking victories in a lot of ways for Radical. I think not just in the fact that, hey, they were able to bounce back from a rough first 2 games to get the win, but it's how they did it. You mentioned it, a full, complete team effort in that one. They played much better. You could argue in some ways, perhaps, the struggles of hREDS to kind of get back to playing the style we expected from them was a factor. But regardless, you take what's there, you take what you can get, and Radical did just that, and as a result, they're back in the series.
Yeah, and they need to just keep playing like that, and I think now it's up to hREDS to make certain adjustments, and really for me, it's got to be them pulling the trigger more. I mean, that's where they found so much success, in my opinion, in those first 2 games. It wasn't the cute goals that got them to where they were. It was the simple hockey. There were multiple deflections, multiple rebound goals. That accounts for 4 of the total goals that they scored out of 8, and that's half. I mean, you got to get back to that. That is a recipe for success if you're hREDS.
Here we go. It is game number 4 in this best of 7 series. Now, we'll get the scoreboard updated in the top right-hand corner, but now a 2-1 lead for hREDS over Radical after the Radical victory in game number 3. I'm very intrigued to see here. So I don't remember the exact count in terms of shots on goal. I'm going to have to look this up really quickly, but just 9 shots on goal for hREDS in that last game. Easily their lowest output of the series, but a strong start in this game.
And right there, they make kind of that adjustment. Where does Benito shoot? He doesn't test that short side. He shoots low to the pads with Nicky Dangles right in front. That's a good start. That's what hREDS needs to get back to.
For the record, game 1, 21 shots on net for hREDS. Game 2, they had 30. Held to just 9 in game number 3. That is, it really says a lot at this point. That is the key factor to look at, I would say, moving forward here. Villapoika down low. Works for Domi. Pinch in the corner. Found Villapoika in front. A big save by Pelkinen. Full pressure here for hREDS, and finally able to try to make the most of it. A move for Domi. Villapoika. It's blocked away by King of Apes. Benito down low. Tried to go in front. Finds its way to Teemu. Teemu stepping in. Wanted to get the shot off on the backhand. In front, Villapoika denied again on the short side. Bouncing puck over the stick of Domi. Will end the full pressure as Radicals survive for now. Benito's shot blocked away. Pass picked off there by Domi. He has a lot of open space to step into and draws the penalty at the same time. hREDS, for the first time tonight, going to the power play.
Yeah, it'll be King of Apes sitting for... Oh, no, excuse me. That's actually Harlow sitting for 2. I assumed that was King of Apes from the positioning right there, but it's Harlow who will be sitting for 2. Got the... Oh, I see. I did think it was King of Apes who did a poke and then attempted to hit, but it was kind of Harlow from behind right there who tripped him up. So a huge power play opportunity for hREDS.
They do win the face-off here. Villapoika maybe looking for that wraparound. Sisu played it well. Be able to send it all the way down. hREDS look to get reestablished in the attacking zone. Weird moment there as Teemu was able to step all the way in. Stopped by Pelkinen. Villapoika, the backhand denied as well. Not mistaken, the opportunity there went to the wayside. Benito, the chance, another stop. Full pressure again, but Pelkinen standing tall thus far in game 4.
Yeah, look at that stamina bar, though, now completely drained. That's the advantage of taking those shots and getting that full pressure here, and hREDS have them where they want them.
Off Face off, poked. And indeed, we do have the name bug going on, so you'll see some gamer tags that aren't quite lining up with who's actually in the game. We are back to 5-on-5. hREDS just steps in. Couldn't get a shot off, though. Grip to the puck. Here's Harlow and Dillinger 2-on-1, and just way too predictable there. That's a matter of going for what you hope is open as opposed to what is. Just Benito rips one just wide. Omi, and a good chance for Nicky Dangles, stopped again. Vidai not able to work his way through. Villapoika. Pass off the mark, corralled by Teemu. Domi shot, knocked down. Nicky Dangles shoveled the backhand on. Villapoika there as well. And that's another factor here for hREDS, is you need a lot of shots because it's going to take a lot of shots to get one past Pelkinen.
Yeah, he is absolutely dialed in right now, having a monster game. We're just in the first.
Dangles, that shot was blocked. Another chance. 20 seconds left of full pressure. Dillinger over for Harlow, trying to work his way through, and he does. At least kills off that full pressure. Benito. Work the switch with Teemu, I'd imagine. No, Benito still holds on to him, but finds Nicky Dangles. Backhand denied. Benito. Go back to Domi. Benito again had picked it up on the backhand. Dillinger up ahead for Harlow. Drops back now. King of Apes stepping in. 90 seconds left to go here in the first period. Dillinger. Have too many options on that outlet pass. And getting up very slow there. One more rush attempt here for hREDS. They're still looking for their first goal of the night. 3 seconds, low shot, big rebound. And a penalty called at the end as hREDS continue to struggle in regards to discipline so far tonight. Radical will start the second period on the power play.
Yeah, and that is, once again, maybe it's just they've been playing like that kind of all game. Every single rebound, they're hungry to get those loose pucks, hungry to try to put one on, because simply, they're being a little bit stumped right now by Pelkinen. I still love the period. We saw when the shot counter popped up, they already had tied the amount of shots they had in the last game, and now you see the end with 12 in that period. Much better start, and that's kind of insane that Radical was held to 13 seconds of time on attack. That's like a partial zone entry at wow. But hREDS have nothing to show for it. Pelkinen was dialed in, and that's tough for them. And now they're going to have to kill a penalty off to start this second period as well. hREDS, it's not maybe seeming as cut and dry as it did coming into today for them. They are trying to solve Pelkinen here at this point, and Radical continues to hang around, but they have to have a better second period. They cannot keep letting Pelkinen get shelled like that. We'll see what they do here on this man advantage.
The action resumes. A reminder, as always, ECL 8 division action and beyond that. Brought to you by our friends at Kovalon Lockritzy. It is a power play here for Radical to kick off the second period. They're still looking for their first shot of this game. It's been a bizarre start to this broadcast in terms of how these games have played out. There is the first shot, and Pincere able to make the save on the deflection. hREDS still looking to make something happen here in these shorthanded situations. Puck turned over. King of Apes in control of it. Find Vidai. We are back to 5-on-5. As Teemu just plays it safe, clears it out. That will go down for icing.
Yeah, hREDS just, I guess it's confidence. The fact that they always want to counterattack on the PK, and they're, they do a good enough job of being able to still get back too, but I don't know, man. Like, the story of this game so far really has to be Pelkinen.
Nicky Dangles leading it down the other way. Went across for Villapoika. Ace for Domi. It goes back to Teemu. Sisu now trying to settle it down here for Radical. Dillinger Doesn't go for the force down the middle. Smart play and an opportunity for Vire poked away. King of Apes throws it on, and Vincere able to make that save. Good pushback here from Radical after a very slow start in the opening 20 minutes. 2 out of the 3 games in this series so far decided by 1 goal. That first goal incredibly important. Always is, but seems to only be amplified now after the result of Game 3. Benito, that pass in front, just not there. King of Apes for Vire, back to the defender. Turns it over to Nicky Dangles. Emu stepping up. Comes back to Benito. Gets the switch. Good movement. Nicky Dangles for Domi. Couldn't make the most of that opportunity. As Vire down that left-hand side, drops back for Harlow at the point. Some indecision there. Lost Radical the opportunity. They are still in possession here, though. Harlow will slow it down. Sisu avoids that hit from Nicky Dangles. Dillinger able to hold on to it as well. hREDS able to take it away. Trying to get something going down the other way. 12 minutes gone here in the second. Again, still looking for that opening goal.
And Radical, especially in the back check, doing a great job clogging up the middle of the ice.
Ape stepping in, bumped off the puck. Temu over the blue line. Avoids that bit of pressure. Nicky Dangles for Villapoica, taken away. Space now for Harlow on that left wing side. Working with King of Apes. Trying to fend off a ton of pressure there from the defense. Radical still in control. All the way to King of Apes. That shot blocked down in traffic. hREDS able to recover. Nito, it ends up getting chipped in. They elect not to press. hREDS again in control one more time here. And mistimed at the line, offside, with just under 3 minutes left in the period.
Yeah, I think Domi was looking past the Nicky Dangles that whole way. Sisu was in an incredible position. You saw the slight delay trying to open the lane. He realized it wasn't there, then tried to carry it a little bit more, but that put the team offside.
Emu in control here for hREDS. Emu, too predictable on that pass across. You have Apes in the corner. And a chance there on the short side. Good look for Radical. Just ran out of space. Final minute here in the second period. Isu's shot is blocked to Dillinger. Back to him at the point. The feed in front. Good look again. 5 seconds left in the period. Temu for Nicky Dangles. Can't get a shot off. And through 5 periods of play tonight, hREDS still without a goal. Unbelievable sin, given they had 8 goals in the first 2 games of this series.
Yeah, it really is. And again, I think a lot of it comes down to Pelkkonen's dialed in, and Radical has made some necessary adjustments here. I mean, hREDS did do a good job adjusting from game 1 to game 2, but from period 1 to period 2, I feel like they just kind of took a step back. They went back to trying to go for those quality opportunities and didn't register a single shot in that period. It's bizarre. Again, credit where it's due. Radical has done a much better job defensively, but at the same time, you could definitely tell there was a mentality shift from hREDS in that period where they wanted to get different looks. They kept trying to pass to the middle. They wanted that behind the net look that right now King of Apes and Sisu are defending beautifully. It's a lot of what hREDS bread and butter has been historically is being taken away. And so they kind of have to keep going back to some of those more grittier, dirtier, grindy goals and stuff like that. And in this game, it's just been inconsistent in getting those chances.
hREDS in the attacking zone here, trying to find that breakthrough. Temu's shot is blocked. Dillinger waits for help. Arlo across. Great save by Fincere. His biggest of the night so far. Nicky Dangles back to Domi. Couldn't get the shot through. Walking that tightrope has Villapoica. Not able to get that through either as Radical continue to do well. Clogging up these shooting lanes. They had a chance down the other way. Now it's hREDS. They can't do much either, and you have to wonder just how many offensive risks are going to be taken as this game continues on without that first goal. Too much work before the blue line. hREDS offside.
Yeah, it's not often that we've seen an hREDS team kind of playing flustered, but I kind of feel like that's what we're seeing a little bit right now, especially on those zone entries. They seem to kind of overpass at time. I've seen Nicky Dangles do a lot of cutback plays looking for that next pass.
Walk to the corner. Taken away here by Radical. Having their own trouble now finding space to get across the blue line. King of Apes going to be offside, and indeed it is, as the pass went off the skates. 12:19 to go here in regulation, Sin, and again, the longer it goes on without an hREDS goal, it's just the more surprising it becomes after those first two games.
Yeah, and you kind of feel like in a tie game, at least mentally, the advantage kind of lies with Radical. hREDS expect themselves to get that goal. They expect themselves to play with a lead. They are deadly when they play with a lead, and they're simply not getting it right now.
That shot, good stop there by Pelkinen. Hasn't been called upon too much as the game's continued on. Space here. Bit of a freeze there, so apologies for that. We continue on. And it's a delayed call here against Radical, as Benito nearly found his way through, but halfway through the third period, hREDS with a tremendous opportunity coming up as King of Apes goes to the box.
Yeah, this time it is him going to the box. 2 minutes for interference. So first power play for hREDS. They were unable to draw first blood, but this one comes at a critical point in the third period here. hREDS have to make something happen. They love playing with the lead. They are just incredible shutdown team, as we know here. See what they want to do, but they got to find something.
Work on the perimeter. They go back to Teemu at the point. Wanted Nicky Dangles. Miscommunication, though, between the two players. Nicky was looking to step in there. Kill off the majority of the first half of this man advantage. The D passes here. Domi for Villapoica. It's broken up, or was it a errant pass? I'm not sure. Regardless, the result is the same. 35 seconds left on the power play. hREDS have to reset. They move for Domi to Nicky Dangles. Tried to go across. It's cleared out again. We are back to 5-on-5. No shots, I believe. There's one, and a second chance is stopped. Villapoica on the doorstep, denied by Pelkinen. Nicky Dangles tries to get it towards the front of goal. Best chance comes after the power play. Here's King of Apes, tries to go across. Teemu there to take it away. Nicky Dangles for Domi. The defender on the backhand, cuts back to his forehand now, gets the switch with Benito. Domi looking, had room to shoot, doesn't take it. You fight so hard for the shooting lanes, you get it, but then you don't take advantage of it. Then the struggle here for hREDS so far tonight. Again, had a 2-0 series lead. They could easily find themselves in a tied series. And if they do get the win here, I feel like maybe you stole it a little bit. Domi, that shot again. Traffic was there, though, and a pass off the mark goes all the way down.
It's hard to disagree with your sentiment right there. I said it a little bit earlier. It seems like Domi just is hesitant to shoot, and that one was a perfect opportunity there to try to pick that corner. I mean, there's just so much space that he opened up by moving laterally along the blue line, and he didn't take it, and that eventually led to a loose puck and then Radical clearing the zone.
I think both teams have struggled with those proper reads. You get a play in mind, and you only hold out hope for that play, but it is, you know, those moments that we know both these teams can have. Top teams, top players, able to make those reads. What you want isn't there, but hey, look, that opened up. Make the pass, make the shot. Whatever the situation calls for. As Villapoica is onside, he couldn't get that stretch pass. No, he's not onside. There wasn't a delayed call indicator there.
Yeah, that might go all the way back. Okay, actually it won't. That's fortunate for hREDS. I thought that was going to be a defensive zone draw.
No indicator of a delayed offsides. 4 seconds left in the period. 60 minutes, not enough. Game 4 going to overtime. This is going to be a gigantic next goal for this series.
Absolutely. And at this point, if you're hREDS, you need it. You don't want to cough up the 2-0 series lead that you came into today with. If Radical is able to get it, I mean, just how massive would that be for their confidence? They're really, in a lot of ways, playing the right way. And the mistakes of hREDS are turning into advantages for Radical. Again, they're not getting the better of the play. That we kind of knew that was going to be a thing once, kind of as the series has gotten underway. hREDS is going to get the better of the play, but since the first period, they've only averaged 1 shot per period. They had none in the second. They only had 2 in that one, and it's a bit perplexing with how much success they found in that first period. And yeah, they didn't score, but I feel like abandoning the strategy, which gave you a ton of zone time and was giving you good chances, forcing Pelkinen to work, draining his stamina bar, getting you full pressure. I just feel like abandoning that after a single period when it gave you so much success, winning games 1 and 2 is just not the way to go here. But we'll see what hREDS want to do here in this overtime. But numbers.
Space for Radical, and again they tried to force an open net, but the shot blocked by Domi. As Radical were nearly rewarded despite the error in judgment on the pass there. Wake up call for hREDS as if anything else hasn't been. Benito over the line here, loses it in the skates. Nicky Dangle's able to recover. Temu for Domi. Back to Temu. Nicky Dangles, they score! They finally find Benito in front. hREDS survive game 4 and take a 3-1 series lead. 1 win away from the semifinals.
And a sigh of relief has to be being uttered by hREDS here. I like it from Nicky Dangles. He's like, all right, I'll be the one to shoot all the way from the half wall. And that just goes to show you there's really no bad shooting location if you have a lane, particularly with some form of net front presence or a screen. Even without that, if you have guys around the net, you never quite know where that puck is going to bounce. And hREDS, like throughout the first 2 games, were the best team at getting to those loose pucks. I'm glad they kind of went back to just throwing it on, because right there they are rewarded with a goal as Benito deflects that through the 5-hole of Pelkinen, who had just a heck of a game. But man, how close were we to singing a completely different tune? Domi with the biggest shot block. You saw it right there. That game could have been over, and Domi's positioning led to that continuing, and hREDS being able to get the game winner and win this one by a score of 1-0, but to take a 3-1 series lead. Just wow.
Game of inches in a lot of ways, isn't it? Or perhaps we should go centimeters based on localization here. But again, it comes down to this. Domi, right place, right time, gets the block off the skate. They go down the other way and get the goal. Radical, just 4 shots. It was nearly enough, Sin. Those 4 shots. I mean, the 5th one almost was the winner, of course. But at the end of the day, it is hREDS who get the win. Game 5 coming up in just a few moments. Again, hREDS now a 3-1 series lead with a chance to close it out from here. We'll see if they can do so. We'll set the stage for you. Game 5 coming up in just a few moments. Stick with us.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi. Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
All right, everybody, we are back. A big thank you for sticking with us here at SportsGamer again as we continue on with our coverage of ECL Elite Division action here. As you get a look here, of course, and as we've always talked about, puck movers, playmakers down the middle, the lone sniper. It's pretty much the meta and has been for a while on the European side of things. But this is a massive game to say the least now. It is hREDS with a 3-1 series lead, but how happy are they with their performance for the first two games of the night? That's something that I wonder about. You got the result regardless in that last game, but at the end of the day, you know, I think they know they need to play at a higher level. They're going to need to play at a higher level throughout the rest of this series to close it out, but also as you talk about getting into that Final Four, you need to deliver and play at a higher level that we know that they're capable of as well. I think that's been really the surprise of the first two games that we've covered on broadcast tonight.
Yeah, and we were kind of internally debating amongst ourselves in that break whether it, Radical is playing better. There's no question, especially on the defensive side of things. But, it feels like a combination between that and hREDS just at times, forcing things that were, they're not taking space that's available. They're not taking lanes that are available.
Something that you expect is a good kick save there by Pelkin, and that's something you expect of players of this caliber, and there it is. Benito takes it to the house and picks up where he left off in overtime. He got the winner there, and he gets the opening goal here in Game 5.
Exactly what you want to see. Sisu has to respect that pass. You see him go directly over to cut off Nicky Dangles right there, or perhaps it was Villapoika. Yes, it was Villapoika, and Benito just takes it to the house. Nice little bit of L skating and goes far side. Beautiful effort right there. hREDS get that early goal and kind of feel like maybe a little bit of a weight is off their chest as the captain delivers and leads by example.
Like you said, that's the job of the defender there, is to primarily take away the pass and make a play on the puck if he can. Ultimately, it was just a great play by Benito. He'd been quiet up until that overtime goal. But a big moment there in the series for hREDS. And that's where they've kind of struggled at times so far tonight. Sin, as you were kind of mentioning, and as we had talked about, players of this caliber, you expect them to be able to make that on-the-fly adjustment of, okay, I want the pass, but it's not there. The shooting lane is, I'm going to shoot the puck. That's, the difference between a top-level player and just kind of your average ASHL player is being able to make those reads on the fly. And we saw a better example of it from hREDS there with Benito getting that goal. He didn't force the pass.
No, and that was the important part right there. He just went into the middle and ripped the shot, and we got to see more of that mentality coming out from this team as a whole.
This rebound, Villapoika had a chance. King of Apes was able to get a stick to it. That puck's going to go down again to reset full pressure. Radical avoid a couple of disastrous situations there. Do turn it over. Nicky Dangles onside. Benito, quick shot. Villapoika on the rebound. They score. This is the hREDS that we saw in the first two games of the series. The Beast has awoken 2-0 in the first period.
Simple hockey. That's all it is. They gain the line. Benito, what does he do? Cuts to the middle, doesn't hesitate, rips the shot on. He knows Villapoika's crashing the net right there. The captain is getting his boys going in more ways than one. Game one in the last game, opening goal in this one, and then the simple, correct play to make in that situation. Instead of trying to be fancy, rips that one on, and his team gets rewarded by doubling up the lead here in the first.
For better or worse, I think sometimes these top teams can overcomplicate the situation, and simple hockey, like you said, is oftentimes, it needs to be, I think, the root of a lot of teams' gameplay instead of just something that you can default back to on occasion. Villapoika, good chance there. As Pelkinen trying to force the issue, turned it over, at least briefly. hREDS still in control. Nicky dangles the odd angle shot. And you can see the trouble that it's giving Radical. These rebounds that are out there, that's going to be... No, it's not. I thought it was going to be a trip.
So
Guess
did
it was
I.
contact. hREDS back in on the attack as a result. Teemu the shot. Good save by Pelkinen. You can see him playing it out, trying to get his team going. Here's Dillinger, loses it. Nicky Dangles looked to play it back. Dillinger was there. He's alone and loses the puck. You got to at least get a shot off there if you're Dillinger, especially with that sniper build. Even if you spec more into the 1T, you're still going to have a better wrist shot. Good job there by Harlow. Here's Dillinger, one-on-one between the legs. The bide time, nearly a great play. Unsurprisingly, Teemu able to take it away. His individual skill, mistimed here for hREDS. They're offside.
Yeah, I like that. Kind of the delay with the between the legs. Then he tries to do the toe drag, and I'm assuming to the shot afterwards to pull Teemu across his body, open up the lane right there. But very well played by Teemu. A couple little lapses of coverage, off of maybe a little bounce here and there, of course. But, failure to kind of get that shot on by Radical twice now. And that's just something that these opportunities cannot go by the wayside now, because hREDS is where they want to be in this game, with a lead and forcing you to play into them.
Dangles in control, under 3 minutes to go here in the first period of game number 5. Nicky Dangles, great save there. 10th of the period already for hREDS. And we talked about it, 21 and 30 shots in games 1 and 2, and barely in double digits over the course of games 3 and 4. Game 5, they're getting back to that strategy of heavy pressure on Pelkinen, and it's working. Here's Teemu, the shot, glove save. I like it, though. You could have forced that pass, but, man, get a shot on net. Again, you got to shoot the score, unless it's the rare own goal or pass that goes in, but odds are you got to shoot the score, and you love to see it from hREDS.
Yeah, we're near the end of the first here, so we'll have to see if they're going to continue this same mentality throughout the course of the next 2 periods, because in that last game, they kind of let their foot off the gas there. Another shot from the point. Good to see Domi kind of pulling the trigger right there. Past couple games, he would probably walk the line, look for that pass, download, and, try to get the cycle going, but I'd love to see him rip it right there. He went for that far side. It was just, kicked aside by Pelkinen there, but there was a little bit of space, and we've, not only in ECL games, but through our own gameplay and other sort of stuff like that, we've seen some crazy stuff go in from the point. You never quite know, so I'm loving to see Domi pulling the trigger right there. The same shot total for hREDS that they had in the first period of the last game, but I believe they ended the game with like 15, 16 shots, if I'm not mistaken. It was just a huge switch. So I'm wondering now, with the 2 goals to show for it in this play style, to where they found success in the first 2 games, if they stick with it here, just try to bury Radical. Get that killer instinct back in your veins. You're on the cusp of advancing to round 2. I want to see hREDS just continue to try to shove this game down Radical's throats.
Second period underway as always. The action brought to you by our friends at Kovalan Alacrity. Not the first time we've seen Radical held to such a low shot total. In that instance, 0 in the first period. Their season is on the line. See if they can battle back as King of Apes. Tried to find the man. What is that near side post? Kick back to Sisu at the point. Centering feed, it's not there. There they have the captain of this team. Drops back for King of Apes again. I'm intrigued to see just how involved offensively he'll be. He seems to have no desire to switch with Harlow. Finally look to, it's turned over. Nicky Dangles has it. Thought he might throw a shot on there for the rebound. That's how they succeeded. Couple of their most recent goals. Here's Domi for Nicky Dangles. Back for Benito. One pass too many. Can't get that shot through. Again, the winner of this series into the money spots of the Final Four. Of course, you make it to the finals. It's even more than that. You win the finals, you earn even more. Dillinger tries to bring it over the line. He does. Knocked off the puck, though. King of Apes across for Dillinger. And admittedly, that is why you see teams force the puck, because of a chance like that. But it's a rare instance, and in that case, it didn't work out either in terms of getting the goals in.
The pass was just enough off the mark to where Dillinger kind of had to pick that up off bounds. Simply didn't have the shot, but I mean, we've seen Radical look for that time and time again. Obviously, he's rocking that gold 1T. That is the guy to get the puck to in that situation. We'll see. I don't know. You know, it hasn't worked too much for Radical yet. Again, they're averaging now less than a goal per game.
Up ahead, it is Harlow. Too predictable on the pass. An easy interception for Domi. For Radical, he'll turn it right back over. Dillinger can hold it, trying to cross the blue line. Outlet pass here as hREDS back in control. Loose puck, Villapoica for Nicky Dangles. Tried the odd angle to bank it off the goaltender, but he hit the outside of the post. Low shot into traffic. Emu can't get that pass through. Domi for Villapoica, back to the defender. Benito and Villapoica running into one another. King of Apes avoids that pressure from Domi. It's towards goal. Vincere was forced to cover.
Yeah, it was a great dodge at the blue line by King of Apes. I would have liked to see him carry that puck a bit more, maybe let off the gas, cut to the middle. You know, those two wingers are going to net drive, and that'll open up space for either a shot or, you know, if someone hesitates a bit on the defensive side of things, then the pass would open up. I think he was a little bit too antsy to get that puck off his stick and to someone in that scoring position. That a slight missed opportunity there.
hREDS, 6 minutes left here in the second period. Not able to make anything happen on that rush attempt. Here come Radical looking for their first goal of this game, but hREDS again able to shut them down. And offside here. Over 5 minutes left in the period. And time starting to be a problem for Radical.
Yeah, and that's you know, curious to say as we're still in the second period, but you go into the third down 2 against hREDS here, and things just simply don't look good. I mean, it's not unobtainable, but against a team like hREDS, it's so hard, especially with how, you know, the games have gone between these two, where Radical hasn't led in shots or time on attack through any one of these. So they need to get something going. They need to find some way to get some more shots on Vincere, some more chances here, because if they're not able to get that, I mean, that 2-goal deficit is going to be out of reach in the third.
Over 3.5 minutes left here. Still plenty of time to find a goal to get some momentum on your side. If that next goal is for hREDS, though, that might be it for Radical. It's a good stop there by Pelkinen. Did it so many times throughout this series. If this series does end, as King of Apes picks that off, in the gentleman's sweep of a 4-1, you still look to Pelkinen to say he's the main reason it wasn't an outright sweep, as he makes another save there.
Yeah, really kind of had some trouble with that after the fact, but I mean, at no point has any of this really been quote unquote his fault. He has been
it's for Nicky Dangles, and I think we both got just caught almost puck watching there of like, oh, what's gonna happen here, because you don't expect Nicky Dangles to miss too much. Domi, I don't know if he got that shot through. 15 seconds of full pressure. And the real time's actually going to wind down a bit too fast and to make the most of it. Another look there. Benito, 2 seconds and 1. Domi runs out of time. 2-0 for hREDS heading into the third period. Radical, their season comes down to this.
And we need to be seeing full desperation mode from them, and them trying a few new things. I would love to see them try to adopt some of that hREDS mentality of a lot more just perimeter shots, traffic in front, but they do seem hell-bent on trying to get the pucks to the middle there, and now they're in that situation where they don't have the luxury of time to try to spread things out, but you're not going to win when you don't post a shot. I know that much, and Radical hasn't posted a shot through 2 periods.
Look, hREDS are a tremendous defensive team. We know this. You got to shoot the puck at some point. You simply have to. I get the idea of looking for high quality things, but I do think this is a trap that a lot of EU teams can fall into. I don't think, now someone like Grizz can correct me if I'm wrong, but in our experience of covering the NACL, I don't recall too many instances of seeing teams with under 5 shots heading into the third period, let alone 0. I still think it's a trap that some EU teams can fall into, of an unwillingness to settle for low quality chances, as Villapoika is denied on the breakaway. At some point, you need to just say shots on net. You have to earn the high quality stuff. And how do you earn the high quality stuff? By showing that willingness that you'll shoot the puck. And it changes up what teams have to look for in terms of how they shut you down defensively. If you only look for the high quality stuff, it makes it pretty easy to know how to shut you down.
Yep, nail on the head.
As a penalty is called here against Radical as well. It goes from bad to worse. hREDS to the power play here.
Yeah, that's going to be Vide sitting for 2 there. So the centerman of Radical. And so we know how important faceoffs are, particularly in the offensive zone, particularly especially on the power play here. Benito has a great chance, and hREDS have a great chance to really put this game away. If, with the way Radical's been playing, if it isn't, in the bag already here, and a goal right here for hREDS would go a heck of a long way to seal the deal.
Have it off the draw. Villapoika to Teemu. Tried to go in front. Dillinger was there to get a piece of it. 5 minutes gone here in this third period. The hREDS 2-0 lead from the first period still intact as Dillinger clears it out. Harlow's going to win the foot race for it. Immediately bumped off the puck by Domi. Dillinger steps in. Again, has nowhere to go as Radical doing what they can to try to get a shorthanded look. Nicky dangles, feathered pass in front. A miscommunication there between Benito and Teemu will nearly kill off the remaining time on the man advantage. As Domi for Villapoika. Back to Domi. Shot goes just wide. As Benito tried to get it through, Villapoika holds on. Only momentarily. Teemu able to keep this puck in. Picked off by Sisu. Up ahead now, it's Dillinger. Across for King of Apes. Can't get it through, but a power play is called, and this is it for Radical here. Nicky dangles to the box, and a power play as they trail by 2.
We need to see a shoot first mentality here on this power play. Pass 2, 1-2 passes, get the lane, put it on, and I don't think there's any mistake that that's indeed an elbow. As he, I think forearm shivered him in the face right there. But this is huge for Radical. Must score situation, and they have to play differently.
King of Apes at the point for Sisu. And a bad mistake there by, of course, one of the youngest in this division. Tremendous player there, but a rough mistake and ultimately leads to an hREDS O-zone face-off, shorthanded.
Yeah, and that's, it's a tremendous play. Obviously, when it works, that cross-ice feed for the one-timer, it's a strong play. And that's why you're going to see defenses lock in on that. They're going to put someone in that lane right there. Radical, they just have to switch that mentality. Again, they have to have a shoot-first mentality here.
Dillinger, again, holds on to it for a bit too long, skates into trouble, opens up room for hREDS on the counterattack. Domi to Villapoika, bumped off. Trouble for Pelkinen. As Domi, again, to keep it alive, at least momentarily. Now King of Apes for Radical. King of Apes on the drive. Decent look. 10 seconds left on the man advantage. Sisu tried to go over to Harlow, had a man right there. Nowhere for Vera to go. Back to 5-on-5. King of Apes in front. Dillinger can't get the shot through. We're over the halfway point of the period. Vera to Sisu, full pressure for the first time for Radical. The pass across doesn't go, though. And that will alleviate full pressure. Pass off the mark. Sisu forced to reset. Another pass, just not where you'd want it to be. Offside here, though, for hREDS. 7:40 left in regulation.
Huge missed opportunity there for Radical, and all it takes sometimes is you see one, maybe two mistakes, and you know your opportunity can kind of go by the wayside. Just a way too telegraphed of a pass, and then harder to gain that line.
There's a shot and a goal, and that will likely do it. Villapoica picks the corner, and it's 3-0 hREDS.
What a rip there by Villapoica. Look at him slow up and gets it in between the hash marks right there. It's a bit of a broken play. Radical think they're going to get it going the only way, thinking we might have a 4-on-1, and the 4-on-1 happens against them. Great spacing by hREDS. Not a whole lot that Sisu could do right there except just sit in the middle and pray that he's able to stop that. 3-0 for hREDS, and a desperate situation gets even worse. Oh.
Sin, you called it. Great goal call on that one, buddy. Well done. 4-0 hREDS. Nicky Dangles seals the deal. This series will end in 5 as hREDS got caught out in Game 3. It wasn't a great Game 4, but they put their foot down in Game 5.
Yeah, they absolutely did, and again, this is the killer mentality. We said they had to have it in this game. They've had it, and they're going to continue to do it. They know anything can happen, and they have that instinct in them. They don't stop playing when they're at their game until that final buzzer sounds, and they're hungry for more.
And it goes from bad to worse for Radical. Sin, again, they get a victory in Game 3, and it looked like, hey, maybe it's a new night. They have a chance to battle through. But ultimately, they just weren't able to find that consistency. They made a lot of mistakes and nearly made another one there. An unfortunate break for Nicky Dangles. Keeps him off the score sheet once more. But it was a lot of mistakes for Radical at this stage that you simply can't make. And again, multiple times making it through a period without 0 shots on goal was not a winning formula.
No, absolutely not. We're trying to, make a point here, but hREDS just continuing to pour the pressure on, looking to get chance after chance. And every time they force that turnover, get in an advantageous situation, you kind of have to hold your breath.
King of Apes tried to make a play on that short side, couldn't do it. Domi gets leveled. Numbers here for hREDS. Benito denied by the glove. And Sim, for all the struggles we've talked about for Radical, you can't look at Pelkinen as a reason as to why this team's going to get bounced in 5 games in the first round. He was absolutely stellar. I think he's someone who could easily, as he makes a big flying poke check save there, I think he's someone who could easily be in the conversation for goaltender of the season. And I think he showed why. He's a name to watch out for in upcoming seasons, as well as his tremendous campaign comes to a close. A chance for Vire. He's hit with his own flying poke check as Finsere records the shutout in the series clinching game. hREDS end Radical season in 5 games, and they are our first semifinalists.
They got the job done. It definitely wasn't the prettiest 3 games that we've ever seen from hREDS, but that last game was exactly what they needed to do. Start off strong. Obviously, it's easy to say get that early goal, but when you play the right way, it becomes easy. And it really started with the captain, Benito. He got that first goal, didn't force the pass to Villapoica, instead does that little move, L-skate to the far side snipe, and then really on the next sequence, gains the line, low shot on net, picked up on the rebound, and put home. And that is what got the ball rolling for hREDS, who had really been struggling to score up until that point. A little bit due to their mentality at times. They had one good period before that where they were really ripping shots on. They weren't rewarded with a goal, and then they kind of went back to looking for quality. And that's not always a bad thing, but you have to mix in the quote-unquote lower percentage shots, because that's what's going to open things up. Cycling to the outside, shooting from the perimeter, because that's where they found, coming into the day, half of their goals came from plays like that. So the other team has to respect that when you start playing like that, and that opens up the middle of the ice, as we saw on the kind of the last 2 goals coming out from hREDS there. So big series win for them. They win in 5. Radical is indeed out, but I can't wait to look at, Pelkinen's overall save percentage at the end of this series because he was unreal.
Yeah, he was. And I mean, again, was the highlight of that Radical squad that I think, can still look at this as a successful season, obviously grabbing that 5th seed. But I hope for that lineup's sake, it's one of those series that they look back on as a massive learning experience, because I think there is a lot to look back on and adjustments to make heading into the spring campaign, where I do think they could find themselves right back in the postseason and as a team to keep an eye out on. I think hREDS, though, their experience at the end of the day kind of carried them through. It wasn't always pretty for hREDS either. I think there's a good amount that they are going to have to clean up, knowing that they take on the highest remaining seed based on who advances. And again, potentially to be tunnel vision. They're in a very good spot as well. And of course, we have their series upcoming as well. More on that in a second. But for now, we take a look at the brackets here. As again, we know hREDS, our first semi-finalist, they have advanced. And of course, I mentioned the tunnel vision and blackjacks side of things. Of course, that is a 1-1 split. Right now, we'll wait and see what happens in that series. And well, Sim, we don't have to wait too long. All things considered, we'll be back right here tomorrow for the continuation of that series. Again, 19:15 CET start time for that one, as tomorrow we will have the coverage of the remainder of that series. Same format as we had tonight. Whether or not it goes 4 or 5, well, we know it won't go 4. Whether or not it goes 5 or 7 games, we'll be here to cover that one. And then, of course, Tuesday, we start the other 2 series that we have, Unwanted and Strikers, Vesapampa and Ipivoskala, going head to head. And, of course, those series finishing up this week as well. So we will know by the end of this week who is in the semifinals. Tim, we still got a long way to go here. Just our first of 4 matchups in the books.
Yeah, I mean, heck of a first series, and I love how they, the way we're able to do things this season is just cover as much of, if not all of the playoffs, and I'm pretty sure we're just going to get every single matchup in the playoffs, and that's where, the hockey, quote-unquote, matters a little bit more. Obviously, you need to have a good regular season to get into the playoffs, but this is it. This is for the money, the bragging rights, the title, and a lot of teams that want to get back there, a lot of teams that want to get there for the first time as well.
So with that, that'll do it for this broadcast. Again, we thank you very much for joining us here. We hope to see you back tomorrow as Tunnel Vision, our 2-time defending champions, look to advance. But the Blackjacks, well, they have something different in mind. We'll see how that series plays out. Until tomorrow, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you then.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.